Lee, nobody, and I mean nobody, makes a mug of a C12, right? Nobody.
or the APAT Show, for that matter, because we're quite capable of doing that ourselves. We don't need anybody else's help.
Absolument. Well, listen, we're only 5 minutes late. I haven't had to walk away from the telly spellbound. I'm not sort of dragging myself in here sort of with a notepad writing out lots of things.
We promise.
No spoilers.
No spoilers. We promise.
No spoilers. Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah. Okay, right. Let's move straight off of that then.
Yeah.
OMG.
But genuinely, really. Yeah.
Listen, I think H killed the Night King as well. That's what I think. Right, Game of Thrones. Go back. Look at the clues. I think H killed the Night King.
All there.
Well.
It's all there.
It's there.
The clues are all there, as they say.
Listen, we don't need clues for tonight, albeit we might need some because there's a lot of poker action going on. What are the guys playing tonight, Lee?
Yeah, so it's it's been championship weekend, started on Thursday night, and it's the culmination of that. Now, nothing's going to get decided tonight for this week for the leaderboard.
It's not going to take 6 seasons, is it, Lee?
Yeah,
6 long years? Is it going to take 6 years?
We're not going to let you know who makes the final table until the very. No, it's obviously because we've got two main events tonight, and they're both 2 days. So we'll be bringing some players back for tomorrow night. So we won't get the leaderboards concluded tonight, but that's always nice. It's always nice on a Sunday, last one of the month, because we can have a bit of fun watching some of the poker, not have to worry too much about the results on the night, because we've got a few more to go with. So what we've got heads up at the moment is the 5 o'clock deep stack, 142 runners in that prize pool of $5,000. We've got Jan Kuthen and Rick Karanjis from the Czech Republic and the Netherlands. They're currently heads up. They've got, let's see, they've got about 30-40 big blinds each, so plenty of play in that anyway. So they're playing for a difference between $775 or $1,175.
Nice.
Yeah, another $400 basically between the two of them on the go at the moment. 7 o'clock main event ended up with 242 runners, which means we didn't quite make the guarantee, but that means there's still $15,000 in the prize pool, just shy of $3,000 up top in that. 47 players left in that, 39 will get paid. So we're getting really close to the money bubble in that one, Des. Won't be far of that. Another hour later, started at 8 o'clock, was the Omaha main event. That got 95 runners in that. So that was really only about two shy of the guarantee. So it's $5,000 in the prize pool, $1,200 up top in that, down to 27 at the moment, paying the top 17. And the closer, it's the knockout turbo, started at 9 o'clock, 121 runners in that, smashed the guarantee, nearly $2,500 in that. We're down to 47. That is paying top 20. So yeah, that's where we're at. No,
nice. Ton of stuff.
One or two things going on. Yeah.
Ton of stuff happening. And more tomorrow night. Obviously, we're going to have some final tables tomorrow night. Hopefully we're going to play some.
Yeah, so how it works, anyone that's listening in, just if you haven't looked in the lobby to see what happens, so it's the two main events. So the 7 o'clock No Limit Hold'em one, we're bringing back 16. So when we get down to 2 tables tonight, that will be it for the night, and we'll be bringing 16 back for that. As I say, you'll be comfortably in the money then as well. So that'll be fine. And in the PLO, we're bringing back just the 7, just the final table. But again, you'll all be in the money comfortably by that point as well tonight. So that's the plan.
I have to say, I thought that was a great field for a PLO at that buy-in. I thought it was a really tidy little tough little field there.
We needed about I think it was 97 to get the guarantee. So it's been pretty close. It's a bank holiday weekend in the UK for those that aren't in the UK, which is a little bit different. And of course, what makes the difference, Des, is kind of lockdown starting to ease a little bit, and more people are having their vaccines and feeling a little bit more I can go and do stuff. So it's for these numbers for the weekend. Very happy.
Pretty good. Listen, I think you bring up a good point, right? Lockdown starting to ease, people feeling a bit more confident. Some have had their vaccines, some have not had their vaccines. But what did you make of this? Right, this is from England's capital, Liverpool, over the weekend. Just check this out. So we had 7,000 people at a rave of some sort, all official.
Did you go? Did you go?
Didn't go. Got numerous invites, obviously.
Got a funny feeling. I'm just Scouse. I can just imagine.
Scouse was there. He was there.
Yeah,
he was absolutely there. But why not? You know, why not? So it's an official test event, right?
No, but it is. I mean, I watched a report on it. It's quite a, it's a serious thing. They're looking at the airflows, and they've got sensors in the rooms and working out, trying to work out where people are following, using AI to work out where people are moving, and to try and understand whether they can open these things up. It did surprise me a little bit, though, that they've gone for something like that, yet they're keeping sporting events,
it's a test. It's a test.
Very limited. But I'd have thought by now they would have opened up a few more sporting events.
Listen, I can't think of a worst case for potential COVID infection than in a rave type scenario. Several hours, people are hot and sweaty, they're singing along, there's going to be spray all over the place.
The only thing probably worse than that is probably a poker tournament. That's
I'm not even sure. I'm not even convinced that a poker tournament is worse than that. I think that would be amongst your worst cases. It's got to be. So everybody that's gone in there has tested negative prior. And, I guess they've all got to do post-event tests, 5 days out? So,
yeah, I believe so. Yeah. They've all signed up to follow it all through properly.
Yeah. So
whether some of them have just signed up just because they fancied going to a rave, I don't know. But yeah.
It's a test, right? So it's a worst case test. So at least, let's say, let's see what happens. But there's no question. A lot of those folks in there, they won't necessarily have seen it like this, but there were guinea pigs in quite a sort of an aggressive test, really. Now they're doing the same snooker final, right? You'll have seen the snooker final today. Every seat filled. Absolutely jammed, right? Jammed. Unlike the last 2 weeks where they've steadily increased the numbers, every seat was jammed today and tomorrow. Same thing, test event. You got to have a negative test to get in, and then you got to do some post-event tests as well. And they're just simply trying to assess, as we allow people to get into those close confines, remove some of those barriers, what is the impact on the aura of that group? I guess that's what they're looking for.
And I saw whilst that was going on in Liverpool today, Manchester didn't want to be out of the loop, so they did a test event in Manchester this afternoon as well. They allowed a number of fans into the ground. And they were using very clever smoke, very smart, to follow the airflow in the stadium. They were wondering whether the water cannons would help to dissipate COVID. But yeah, I thought it was very good, and I'm pretty sure every one of those will come back to provide their negative test after the event.
Well, look, Manchester as a whole is a whole different discussion. So yes, of course, there's a danger there'll have been some infection there, but that was for a completely different reason. Yeah.
That
was like picking an absolute nonsense character and making him the chief villain out of a whole 6th series of programs. Anywho. That
no spoilers. Yeah,
is a big story in itself, Lee. Obviously it was an anti-Glazer thing, driven to a degree by the Super League, but the anti-Glazer. It's been going on for years, right?
Yeah. There was more than that, and I'm fairly convinced that it was quite amusing. Some of the way some of the terminology used this afternoon was, they broke into the stadium. Well, I mean, it's not that easy to break into a stadium.
Well, you wouldn't have thought it was as easy as they found it.
Now, well, exactly. I mean, you get the feeling that either they possibly had some inside help.
Are you saying you've got some bent Stewarts? Is that what you're saying?
What I'm saying is we need. What I'm saying, fella, is we need to get it sorted.
Mother of God, Lee. Mother of God. Ben Stewart's. That's all I care about, Lee. Clearing out the Ben Stewart's.
What I want to say, did you see not one of all those stewards just turned the other cheek? They didn't want to know, didn't want to get involved. Well, I don't blame them, to be honest. They clearly are not set up for fans in the ground, so it wasn't policed to any sort of level. So, but they knew that was coming. There was talk of it. certainly in the week in advance, that there was going to be some disruption at the game.
Oh yeah, I
So
don't
I'm
don't think
surprised
anybody
they
expected it to spill onto the pitch.
no,
Crikey
but
O'Reilly.
you wonder how easy to say. Bear in mind the stadium's secure. The only entrances into the stadium should have been actually the media entrance and the players' entrance. I mean, everything else should have been locked up and
Bent
no way
journos.
of getting in.
Is that what you're saying, Lee? Bent
So
journos?
I wouldn't be surprised if it wasn't the case that actually there are, because at the end of the day, stewards are fans as well.
Yeah.
Workers of the club are fans of the club as well. And as I say, at Manchester United, the Glazer family and everything else goes way back long before the whole European Super
Oh
League.
God, yeah.
I don't know whether you saw the little between Carragher and Neville on Sky, because Carragher had not a pop, but he was angling the point that Arsenal and Man United fans have had hatred of the owners for far longer than, I mean, not, Liverpool fans haven't. They didn't. They thought the owners were fantastic. And Gary Neville came back with you want to be very careful about FSG, and so he had a pop back at them, and I couldn't tell whether they were just, what was going on there. But I think that the reality of it is any of the six fans of the big six clubs that think that their owner is squeaky clean and have got the club's best interests at heart, probably the squeakiest, cleanest of the lot from a club's interest point of view is probably Abramovich, which is quite a scary
well, he's a
thought,
football
isn't it?
lover, and the money doesn't mean that much to him.
I would say probably him, and arguably the Abu Dhabi family with Man City. The other four certainly wouldn't. If you think, oh, don't worry, they just got caught up in this whole what's gone on in the last 10 days.
Look, I think there's different levers there, right? So the Glazers have taken like tens, if not hundreds of millions out of United in dividends, whereas FSG haven't taken a penny out of Liverpool in dividends. So they're not taking any money from the club. Now, if at some point they sell the club, they'll have sold a £300 million purchase for, whatever it might be, let's say 2 billion, whatever it might be. They're going to make a ton of money at that point. But they've managed it very, very conservatively. I'd have said they certainly haven't taken any money out of the club. So I think that's a slightly different situation as well.
Well, to be fair, you actually had Graham Souness kind of standing on the side of the Glazer family, like on Sky. It was a very strange show.
Yeah.
I know they were all filling time, but it was most
it was a bit.
It
was a bit odd, and Mika, Richard said at one point, "Oh, I'm in a really awkward spot here. I'm an ambassador from Man City, so I can't
really say anything."
Yes, you can. Get to it, son. And Sky in the middle of the whole thing, and I worked for Sky for a long time. But who is driving the greed? Who is made the Premier League what it is in terms of big money, and who stands to lose as much, if not more, than anybody else if some of that interest goes to another broadcaster? Sky. There aren't too many of them without sort of motives, as it were. Plenty of motives there. But
and this is the thing, when you hear anybody talk about it or any, you've got to properly step back and look and go, right, what angle, where are they coming from? It's the same with the players. I spoke about it on last week's show about the players. Look, don't be fooled to think that the majority of the money in the Premier League goes to the players. And there are a number of players in the Premier League that are earning ridiculous sums of money for hardly playing any football. Or hardly doing, they're not superstars of the game. And then where does that money come from? It comes from the TV companies. Where do the TV companies get it from? They get it from the fans.
Yeah.
And ultimately that's it.
Yeah.
Yes, there are owners taking money out, but Abramovich doesn't take money out. As you say, FSG haven't taken money out. The Glazers have taken out dividends and they pay interest, but ultimately, as Graham Souness made the point, they took the punt on it in the first place and leveraged themselves to be able to buy the club. They saw an opportunity and they brought money into the club with their commercial acumen. And
I think I quite like a lot of what Neville has to say in terms of his passion for, having clear visibility that actually it's the fans that drive football and they absolutely deserve to have a say in what goes on. But we got to take that with a little pinch of salt because, he's got a football
I
hotel
was going to say,
right by Old Trafford.
Let's look what he's doing at the moment.
He owns a club. He's done the same thing with Salford as what these other owners have done. He's just going up through the pyramid through big buying power. So you got to take it with a bit of salt. I think he's extremely cagey, very, 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 very smart guy, and he's part of everything that he says is thinking for Sky as well.
He does speak very well on, and not just on the subject. Actually, he speaks very well on a lot of things going on in the world, whether it's football related or not, or politics or what. Actually, he quite openly talks a lot of sense.
He's definitely little finger, though, Lee. He is the little finger of football, right? I have no doubt. Right, tell me, my good pal, where are we going to go to? What poker do we want to put up on screen? PLO, main event?
The deep stacks just concluded. Jan from the Czech Republic beat Rick from the Netherlands.
Nice.
For the first win of the night. So I would suggest, as we are getting close to we're 4 off the money in the main event. So why don't we bring up a main event table? That would be quite a sensible thing to do. Let's see if we can find. Gary Young is second in chips, so let's find Gary's table. He is on table number 9. Who else have we got on there? Simon Ward, Kerry Sweeney from Canada, I think Kerry's from, and
I remember
Gary
Kerry
Jackson
had a run in the
there.
main event, didn't he? The WCOAP from memory.
So we'll bring up a table. So we'll bring up table 9 to follow the action. So what I should say, I haven't mentioned it yet. There's we got a few little panics with the leaderboard this week. Luckily, Tony Ross is playing a blinder. He's on step 3, so we're comfortable with step 3. We can pay out step 3. That's not a problem, is it? Yeah, $33 tickets. We can do that. He's had 5 in the money. 5. I think he's had 2 wins this week so far. He's got double the points of any other player. So quite happy with that at the moment. However, we got a couple of others that are lurking that are on step 4. Lewis Tabib from Austria, he's currently 3rd at the moment. 5 cashes this week. He's probably had a go for it. And that Wigglesworth chap, he's had 4 cashes this week. He's currently 6th on the leaderboard. They're both on step 4, Des. So that they're going to cost us a little bit more. But they're all trying to catch Tony Ross, who obviously had a great run. Was top of the table, or certainly worked his way up through the steps, and then went quiet for a couple of weeks. Dropped down. I think he got up to step 5, but didn't have any joy with that. So dropped down for a couple of weeks, but is now step 3 and looking secure for a top 20 place. So
nice going to everybody who's up there and going to win tickets.
But there's loads of points up for grabs. So winner of the deep stack tonight is going to pick up 120 points. Winner of the main event is going to pick up 155. Omaha's 97 points is 110 for the closer. So there's stacks of points available tonight, especially with the championship weekend, because it's loads more runners as well. So.
Well, Yanni is in the chat, and he is saying Mike coaching has helped him. There you go.
There we go.
Straight in there, Yanni. Straight in there.
Hopefully, you're on a percentage. That would be quite nice. Now, some of you might notice if you're playing some slight differences. They seem to have gone a little bit OTT with the middle names, from what I can gather. So if all of a sudden you've seen your middle names appearing in your real name on Party. They're kind of working through, I think, verifying more accounts, and what it means is if you have to confirm your account or verify your account with ID, they take the name exactly as is on your ID. So if you've got a middle name, they bung it in there, which means you then end up getting your middle name showing on the tables. It's a little bit daft, but them's the rules from what we can gather. So I've had it myself, and I've spoken to customer support and aired my views that I don't particularly want my middle name appearing on the table, and basically got told tough.
Oh no,
that's what it is. But what they do, Des, is they put it in. There isn't a box for it in your account, you see. So they have to put both the names in the first name, which means what you end up having then is your first name and second and middle name, and then just the initial for your letter is how it looks on the table. It looks horrible. But what I will say, I don't know whether any of you caught just before the social media blackout on the weekend, although to be fair to Rob, he was a little bit late because he did post this on Saturday morning. but we'll let him off because he did then say he was planning on switching off social media for the weekend. That in the next couple of weeks there is going to be a software update on Party Poker, and it is going to require you to change your screen name.
I saw that. Well, he said you can take the opportunity, right?
No.
So you could add a 1 or something, for example.
I think it was a you're gonna have to.
Okay.
So you can change it to a 1 or do whatever. Now I'm not quite sure why, because I thought when they did this originally that solved the problem, but they obviously seem to still think that there's databases being gathered somewhere with player information, or what. I'm not quite sure how or why, but so they're still concerned about it. So they're seeing it as an opportunity. I think they'd like to get to a point where you could just change it regularly. I know some of the sites do give you the ability to change your screen name on a regular basis. So it's not a bad thing, I don't think.
Well, I mean, look, it's okay for the likes of us because we play all of our tournaments in real names anyway, right? But if we were, organizing leagues and leaderboards and all of that good stuff with, usernames, it's just hard work trying to coordinate all that stuff.
I'm gonna try my best this week because I picked up the reason I'd had my account verified months ago now for something, so I needed to get that done. And then Natalie Bromley messaged me tonight mentioning it, and I'd seen yesterday Lewis Tabib had a cash in one of the events last night, and his middle name was coming up all of a sudden. I think he cashed earlier on the week and it wasn't there. So it's literally happened in the past couple of days. So I spotted that one. So I've adjusted it for the week. Otherwise you end up appearing on our leaderboard twice because we think you're 2 different people. Because we take whatever's on the lobby. So what I will do is I will try and just kind of, as best I can, double check to make sure that we're not catching anybody out. But as you know, with these things anyway, we're pretty good. If we make a mistake, even if it's it's not our fault, we'll honor the tickets, and Des will sell off another bit of the Ferrari, and it'll be fine. We'll be able to do it. It'll be okay.
That's a cracker. That's a cracker right there. I don't want a Ferrari anymore, Lee.
I'm not after you change your mind. What are you moving to now then?
I'm not sure I should. I'm not sure I should be. Giving this information away, but
I thought you were going to say because it's an environmental thing, and you.
Well, no, it's hard to say really. Shall I show you? Shall I show you what I was thinking of? Okay, let me just see if I can do this. Oh, here we go. It's quite like one of these. Right, not a boat, Lee. Not a boat.
Oh, it's one of these jetpack things.
Check that out.
Yeah.
Can you imagine Peter Wigglesworth going to the cash desk at dusk till dawn? Straight up there.
Very good. Did you see the Top Gear episode where they raced that against an electric 4x4 going through the ice? Oh, check it out. It was on.
Yeah.
Might have been one of the last couple of episodes of the last season.
That is stunning, though, is it not?
Very, very insane. I mean, that's properly the future.
We're sort of getting there.
Technology is amazing.
Yeah, I sat my little 7-year-old down today, and I told her, "Look, just look at this." Because I'm always explaining to her how many technological developments we've seen over the last 20, 30 years. The advent of the mobile phone. There's so many things. Self-driving cars. But I'm saying this is going to be one of the things that her generation will see come into fruition. I mean, the guy in the street couldn't use that yet, but I've no doubt 20 years' time there'll be a commercial version of that thing available, and people will be flying around the sky. Yeah. How cool!
But say there's the 2 cool things on the Top Gear thing to check out. There's the guy racing that up the hill, and he's racing Freddie Flintoff in a. It's like a 4x4 electric rally car thing where they're doing proper races with these things.
Nice.
And that thing is a beast. It doesn't have very long range on it, but basically they go up this kind of snowy, zigzaggy hill up to the top and through a forest. Incredible. absolutely
Yeah.
incredible.
Yeah, I mean, some of these electric cars they've got insane sort of 0 to 60s. You're looking at 2 seconds and stuff like that.
Yeah,
And
the power on them, it's still the range is the issue with a lot
yeah,
of
the
them.
range is the issue.
It's the range and the charging that's the issue. And it's a weird one. You kind of think, well, surely but I mean, but also there's a case of the pricing of some of it just at the moment is just absolutely bonkers. I mean, Jen was looking at an Audi, and the only Audi they don't do a hybrid. They're all electrical, and they start at like 70 grand. It's
Yeah.
they're not at the moment comparative to the same vehicle, but as an electric or compared to a diesel or a petrol. And I think until it gets to that point, it's very difficult for people to, unless you've got plenty of cash and you just want to do the environmentally right thing. Although there are reports and tests that say that actually having an electric car isn't even environmentally friendly for 10 years.
Well, I'm not absolutely convinced that in 5-6 years time it will be the most efficient or cheapest mode of transport. There are other sort of developments coming through that are likely to surpass electric cars.
Yep.
But have you ever been to crikey, I'm thinking Legoland, I think is one of them, and definitely Alton Towers. They've got this ride called Rita. Which
I've heard of it. I've not been on it.
Oh, Jesus wept. So it's this. It's in the form of a race car. It's open top. You sit in that thing, and you've got about 200 meters before you hit a spin, as it were. It's 200 meters flat. So it's like a race car taken off the line. The speed is just insane, and part of the fear factor is that there's no sound. There's no sound in terms of revving engines or anything like that. It just goes.
Yeah.
Your heart is in your mouth. Magnificent. I mean, it's a really interesting ride to experience. But if you are in a super fast electric car that can go 0 to 60 in 2.5 seconds, I don't know how you control it.
No, because it literally is a put your foot down and just you go, isn't it? There's not.
There are no other senses taken in the experience. Just wow.
Yeah, but it's the way it's the way it's going to be. I mean, they're doing testing still on the self-driving cars, aren't they? And all that technology and those films where set in the future, whereby all the cars all know where each other are on the road, and therefore
fantastic.
I mean, ultimately, eventually that's where it'll be. You'll plug in where you want to go. It'll find you a route where you can get there without hitting anything, and you'll go.
Absolutely love it. I rented a Hyundai. I'm not even sure I could tell you what it was, but it was a hybrid version, so semi-electric. But it had a towing feature, so you could, if you're on the motorway, you're within a certain distance of the car in front, you hit a button and it sort of latches onto the car in front, and you then do the same speed as the car in front. So if he slows down, you slow down, and it recognizes the white lines on the motorway. So you don't need to steer. You don't need to use the pedals. You need to be awake because it's not a self-driving car. But to all intents and purposes, it's attached to the car in front. So that is, crikey, it was a pleasure to drive that, I have to say. A bit spooky at times. And obviously, if the weather is bad and the sensors in any way start to get clogged up, snow, anything like that, you can't do it, of course. But quite an experience to drive one of those.
I actually had an interesting quiz question on Friday. We did a multiple choice movie thing, and one of the questions was which of these films was set. They're all set in the future, but which one of them was set in 2021?
No.
And we gave them the option of Back to the Future 2, Blade Runner, or Johnny Mnemonic. And that were the options we gave them. And so they had to pick which one of them was set in 2021, so this year.
Blade Runner?
No, it isn't. It was Johnny Mnemonic.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. But the interesting point I was going to make on that is, do you know when Blade Runner was set? So everybody normally knows the Back to the Future one because it was actually about 6 years ago, and it was the big thing. And
I remember that.
Back to the Future. So it was about 2015. So
I remember
when was Blade Runner actually set?
I can't. Obviously, it was very futuristic in terms of
Yeah.
its look and feel. You're going to tell me that it was prior to 2021, so I'm going to assume it was something 2001, maybe
2019.
2019.
Yeah, but it was
Crikey.
obviously it was made in 1982. So
Right.
in 1982, that was the vision that by 2019 it would be.
Yeah, we
it would
failed
be
them.
like that. Yeah,
We
yeah,
failed them. Although
completely. Yeah.
elements of it, elements of
Well,
it
there are some
are
bits.
not.
Yeah.
Wow. Incredible
So,
stuff.
so Yanni's in the chat, and Tony Ross has had a ride called Rita, but I think that's another thing altogether. So.
No, that
Yeah,
that
we
comment
did-
hasn't
yeah, we did-
arrived on my thing yet.
We did. I think I don't know what's going on with Facebook tonight. So yeah, do get your comments in the chat, guys, because I can't even see who's in on the stream tonight.
Yeah.
It's Facebook is being proper funny. Yeah, we had a couple of good questions. We did. So which trilogy has the longest runtime? Godfather,
Oh.
Lord of the Rings, or The Hobbit?
Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, only just though, by 8 minutes over.
Surprised that it's that close. Lord of the Rings
Yeah.
was long. It was amazing though.
So
Incredible.
what was second? What do you think was second?
So you're saying The Hobbit or
Godfather.
Godfather? Well, I'd be surprised if it was The Godfather. But I guess you're going to say The Godfather.
I am going to say The Godfather.
Yeah, I'm surprised. I'm surprised. They were great movies, classic movies back in the day. But yeah, I'm surprised.
Yeah, no, we did a good movies one. I'll give you one more. Which film franchise has the most movies? It's Jason Bourne, Jurassic Park, or Terminator?
I'm going to say Jurassic Park.
How many do you think?
Certainly 4. We're presumably talking feature films.
Yeah.
Because there's a bunch of animated stuff and what have you.
No, it's basic. It's what you would cast in their film franchise.
I would say 4,
family.
4, maybe 5.
Okay, so Jurassic Park is 5.
Okay,
but it's not the right answer.
So Bourne. Well, Bourne I thought had 4. I might be wrong there. Then we had a different sort of Jason Bourne. We had a different. Matt Damon dropped out after 3, I think. And what was the third option, Lee?
Terminator.
Again, 4, 5. So I don't know. I don't know.
Bourne's a 5. There was 3 original ones, and then there was one, which was going back to him before. I think before the trilogy, and then there was a new one afterwards with the matey boy that is in the Avengers as well. I can't think what his name is.
Yeah, he was also in Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol.
Yeah. So there was 5 of those, and Terminator there's been 6.
Crikey.
Yeah.
Who knew? I would never have said there were 6 Terminator related movies.
Yeah, so there's they keep rattling those out. So,
I suppose a bit like Alien. I thought Alien was a classic franchise, so Alien 1 was superb. Alien 3, they were all blockbuster movies, and then I think they came up with Redemption, and it just flubbed.
What's it called? Is it Prometheus? Does that count in the Alien family? Does that count?
Because it was a pre.
You know?
I'd have thought so. It was a pre, and I thought Prometheus was good, but I think it was pretty ravaged by the critics. But Redemption, I think it was Redemption was number 4, and that really. It sucked, and I think everybody went, no, I'm not watching any more of those. But listen, talking about space type movies, I had the chance to watch a new Netflix space movie during the week called Stowaway.
Oh, I've got it on my added it to my list the other day. Actually, is it good?
It really, really interesting. Great little story. Could have been made on a small budget, but you don't get the feeling that it was made on a small budget. But really nice little story. It's one of those classic movies where, there's a little bit of action in it, but it's not about the action. It's very much about some of the questions that the crew become faced with. It's one of those sort of psychological type movies. Really, really good. Highly recommended.
Just typing in a name of the person that came. You haven't got the lobbies open, have you? So the Irish player came 8th in the deep stack tonight. I don't know whether it's an Irish name. I wouldn't even have a clue how you pronounce their first name. It's Daugirdas.
Let's have a look. Say that again. D-A-I-R-D-A-S.
Daugardas. And then yeah, IRDAS.
Well,
And then the surname is Rimgala. So I'm guessing it might not be.
That's not an Irish name. Not that I've seen before, I have to say.
But again, not an Irish winner. So unfortunately, we're hand for hand in the main event. Just in case you're wondering why we're not really talking massive about the poker, because they're all paused and waiting for everyone to finish at the moment. And we're paying 39 players. We're down to 41, so we're actually still a couple off the money, but they're playing hand for hand at the moment. So.
Don't know if you picked up on this, Lee, but really interesting poker story coming from last week. Pads, right? Patrick Leonard.
Yeah, I know what you're going to talk about.
He won the Scoop leaderboard, right? So he tops the main leaderboard Scoop. Big honor, right? Very, very competitive space. And, there were only a few points in it. It was massively competitive, as you would expect. It went down to the last event and probably down to the last few places in the last event. We've seen Sunday nights a bit like that ourselves. But, Patrick did his maths afterwards to find that, in fact, by his calculations, he didn't win it. So he wrote to PokerStars. How, upstanding was that?
So what actually happened? It was even before the it had finished. I think I think he tweeted them and said, "Look, I think I've got 30 more points than I should have. Something's not right here." And I think he was quite enjoying the guy that he was up against. That I think he was tying at the top of the leaderboard, a Russian guy who was streaming.
Yeah,
I don't know whether you caught any of his streaming stuff.
No.
It's proper. They're drinking his beer, playing his
Fantastic.
poker. It's very, but Pads just was loving it and just was like, if I lose to this guy, brilliant, because he's what a guy, that kind of thing. And so it transpired that got an email from Stars saying they'd added points for some positions that hadn't cashed. So similar to what we do, you get points if you cash. They'd made a mistake, and then they did the old school Stars thing and said, well, we're just going to pay everybody out because that's the right thing to do because we've completely messed it up.
But they ended out paying him. It was so the leaderboard prize was only for first place.
Huge.
I think it was $25,000 or something.
Yeah.
But they ended up compensating Pads $45,000.
No, but there was a couple of leaderboards. So there was the overall leaderboard, and then there was a high and a medium and a low leaderboard, I think. And I think he was top of the high one as well. So there was more than one prize. I think that's the reason why they did it that way.
But I mean, I think it reflected very well at them.
But I think he's donated it all anyway, isn't he? Or he was doing something with it.
That's right. That's right. It's incredible stuff.
But wouldn't have happened on our watch.
No, we don't.
I mean, you feel for somebody. At the end of the day, as big as PokerStars are, I'd be 99.9% certain that there will be somebody in PokerStars that has got a spreadsheet, and their job was to take all the results, put them into a spreadsheet, calculate our points, and produce a leaderboard. They must be pretty gutted that it's cost the company probably comfortably, because it wasn't just Pads that got paid out, wasn't it? I think it was somebody else as well. It's probably comfortably cost them a couple of times their salary, probably for the year. As a mistake.
It's not
which
even
is unfortunate.
That, though.
It's unfortunate.
It's not even that. It's questions are being asked by people now. Oh, has it happened before? Should we be recalculating back to year XXX? That sort of stuff. That's what's going on now. So it's the cost in trust as opposed to necessarily the cost in dollars. Last week.
But what I would say is, it's easy for these things just to get swept under the carpet and them go, no, don't worry. Yeah, we've sorted it quietly. They haven't. They've actually come out and gone, this is what's happened, spoken to the players, and obviously it's happily been communicated publicly. And in the same way, I mean, I think we've had the odd, not even a mistake that's, again, say it's not, it was even us, but if, you just tend to do the right thing and just honor what's right. Don't see why anybody should lose out because of if a mistake's made. these things happen. And the reality of it is, I don't know if anyone knows. I'm not sure they've mentioned this before, but we're now well past 365 days straight of recording APAT results. They're all manually typed in, you know.
It's just insane. Just insane. I had a look. I'm sure I had a look at our leaderboard a couple of days ago, and I'm pretty sure you had a Russian name in there in the acrylic. Have we figured how to do that now?
No.
How did you get it in there then?
It won't have been acrylic. I'll have just guessed the digits.
No. Seriously, I'm sure I saw it. Yeah.
Oh, there was in the worlds. There was. Were you looking at the worlds one, or were you looking at a weekly leaderboard?
It could have been a world's one.
If it was a world's one, it was, because we were getting the download results from Party, which means they looked fantastic because they had the.
Oh, so you were able to copy and paste that in?
Yeah. They copy and fine. It's great. And to be fair, the database we've got for when we do tickets has got all of those proper names in as well. So I sometimes now have to go, right, this is what I've said it is.
Yeah, how does that match with?
How does that match now? But I pretty much do it as I type what I see. So normally it's fairly accurate.
Oh dear. Oh dear.
It's all good, to say the least. So we are down to 38. The bubble has burst in the main event, and that unfortunate player that misses out is Antonio Curioni from Germany. But we've already lost a player in the money. I think he must have been clinging on for dear life. Mr. Wigglesworth, he's first to cash, picks up $132, but he's out in 39th place.
Oh, lucky Pete. So Antonio had an ace queen, which looked pretty tempting. He found himself up against Alexis Jacks. Couldn't get there for his last 50k. So how deep are we going tonight, Lee? How late into this tourney, or how many players do we play?
So we're down to they're dropping like flies now. So we're down to 37, and we'll stop at 16, and it will stop at 16. So for two tables, and they'll then come back for tomorrow at 7 o'clock. John Murray's clinging on. He's short stack at the moment, got 22k, and the blinds are 8,000, 16,000. So he's basically got
come on, John.
Bigs. He's just bust. John's gone. Paul Haycock's gone as well in 36. So as soon as the bubble bursts, and they're all in the money, these guys are all picking up $132.
Yeah.
As they're exiting quite quickly.
So
once we get down to once we get down to 16, that will stop for the day. The Omaha is currently on 18. That's going to play down to 7 tonight. In that, Yanni is 5th in chips in that. Paul Jackson's playing that tonight as well.
I saw Paul Jackson's name. He's up there with Yanni and Rich Baker,
Farrell. Di Farrell's in there as well.
Dean Pearson. They're all at the first page.
Joe Gaynard. Yeah, so they're all doing well. And chip leader in that at the moment, Jon Yip from Belgium. Played quite a bit in the Worlds. Recognise that name from the WCAP. So
did you see our smart new APAT Show image from our countdown? Did you see it? Did you make out some of the characters? See if I can put this up for you, Lee.
Well, I saw it, and I couldn't work out whether it was just for this week or it was a general thing. It felt like it was just for this week.
No, you got all sorts in there. It just felt very APAT Show-like. What do you think?
I don't quite know how Giggs made it in, but anyway.
Well, he's a bad boy, isn't he? He's a bad boy. We talk about football. I mean, we need to talk about Giggs tonight. We need to talk about Giggs tonight.
It would appear that he's got himself into a little bit of bother. And
he has, hasn't he?
Yeah. Unfortunately, I guess it's a little bit of a he said, she said, she said. But that doesn't mean to say, it's not truthful, and the courts will decide one way or the other.
Yeah, well, he's he's certainly been stood down by the Welsh FA.
Well, I think it's the only thing you can do. There's not.
But is it right though? Is it? If he's, are we presuming him guilty before he's actually been found guilty?
Well, I mean,
it's an awkward one, isn't it?
You've got that one, and of course, it's not the only story that hit this week in a kind of similar vein, I guess, where and I think actually Giggs has probably been treated quite well compared to the way BAFTA and
Noel Clark
and the production companies have dropped Noel Clark. on, well, not hearsay, but on the fact that, you know, that a number of women have come forward, and they've no nonsense. They're not waiting to hear anything. They're like, right, yeah, you know, stepping as far away from it as they possibly can. I think there's a lot more is going to will come over that one. I think it's quite worrying when you can see that there's a long-standing level of using your power for your own kind of gain. It's
I have to say, we don't get away with that at APAT.
Definitely not.
Once tried to get a £10 train ticket through. Tom wouldn't have it. He said, "No, Des, we're not paying you back for that. Sorry." Just not. Matt said, "Sorry, Des, can't do that. You'll have to cover that one yourself and your sandwich, right? You've got to pay for that sandwich too." It's just none of that stuff goes on here.
It's quite sad, really.
It is. Well, there are two stories there, right? There's the abuse of power, and Giggs, Noel Clark, similar sort of thing, right? To a degree, similar sort of thing. And then there's
I think they're two completely different things whatsoever. Because I think the Giggs one feels like it's a domestic abuse.
Where I disagree is that the guy's been doing this for tens of years. He's been doing it with his brother's wife. He's been doing it with Christ knows who. There's no smoke without fire, and that's the issue with Clark. That's why everybody's backing away so quickly and so aggressively, because it's not one person. It's not his word against one person. It's his word against tens of people. And I think with Giggs, it appears that whether it's adultery or whatever it is, seems to have a history now of disrespecting women. Not a good place to be. Not a good look.
No, I disagree, because I would say that they're two pretty distinct differences in the two cases. As I say, the Giggs one is clearly a domestic abuse and kind of cheating and that, which is long. Obviously that's been going on for a long time. To get to a point where his brother can then be appearing on Paddy Power adverts, mockery of the whole thing is quite one thing. But and that's what that is, and that's not saying that he's say it's is any lesser for it. It is a case that there's obviously legal things in happening at the moment regarding it. But I think the Noel Clark thing is actually quite a worrying situation, that there are clearly organizations out there that knew this was going on, and some of the stories that are coming out about auditions and taking acting classes and with some of the students and that kind of thing. It's that's really quite worrying that these people just let it happen. And clearly haven't learned their lesson, and the BBC are
well, this goes back
as well.
This goes back to your Jimmy Saviles, to your these guys who were working at the football clubs, to the Harvey Weinsteins. These are crimes that have been perpetrated over a long period of time, seemingly with the knowledge of organizations. So that is quite different.
I think the Giggs one,
they're both incredibly serious.
I mean, whatever happens with the Giggs one, through the court case, that's him done. I think he will just step back and you won't see him necessarily as a public figure much anymore, because I don't see how you
recover. You
would want to. Well, you would want to come back from this, or need to come back from this. Financially, he doesn't. He does it because he loves football and wants to be involved in the game. He's part owner in Salford. And
do you think?
And it could well be that he ends up in prison. For if they decide that the actual.
Would you envisage that his mate, if he's found guilty, will stand him down at Salford?
I would imagine, well, not sack him necessarily, but again, it'll be a case of probably doesn't make it's probably not going to be good for the club. So the best thing will be to sell up your your percentage, isn't it? And just say you just quietly just step aside. I would imagine that would be the case, because they're all again, we were talking about Gary Neville earlier on, but as much as they're not all, well, one or two of them are in Salford because they love Salford. I think Scholesy and Nicky Butt probably are. The others, I think they see a business opportunity, and either Beckham bought into it now, isn't he, as well? So he's in there now as well. And and it's for different reasons, I think, and that's the same with anybody that owns a football club. They all all owners own it for different reasons as to what they'll be. But I would imagine if Giggs is found guilty and whatever punishment that comes with that, wouldn't be surprised if he just quietly just goes into the background.
It makes sense. It will make sense. We've been joined by one Frank Bailey. Good evening to you, Frank.
Hey.
Hope you're well, my friend. I'm not seeing any comments. I'm not seeing any,
no, I don't know what's going on. I'm not sure. No, I'm not sure what's going on with Facebook tonight, but it's so if you are listening in, just stick something in the chat so we can know you're there, because we're not seeing anything, unfortunately, which is very frustrating, because we normally like to give some shout outs to people that are that are watching. But a few more exits in the main event. Aaron's bust. Matt Carey's just gone in 30th, so we're down to 29 now. As I say, we're paying paying 39, so everyone's well in the money. We've already got a money jump now, so we're up to $154. We will be stopping at 16 players. So if you've not spotted that in the lobby tonight, it is going to be when we get down to 16, which I'm kind of guessing with 29 left. I think it'll be around midnight time.
Yeah, I suspect it will move quickly, Lee. Certainly in the next hour. So what are your plans for tomorrow? Anything in mind? You going out for a wander or going to the beach? No,
not really. It's a bank holiday, isn't it? But it doesn't really.
Doesn't feel like a bank holiday.
It doesn't know with it lockdown. It doesn't really feel like a bank holiday, does it? So no, it's just another work day. So I'm just gonna get. I was hoping they might. They said when they're going to rearrange the game for you. Is it going to be that weekend that's now free? Is that what they're doing?
Don't know. Haven't seen mention of it.
There was only a couple of options, you see. So it either had to be. So had you picked up on the fact that they've moved? So the penultimate weekend, they've moved to the midweek.
No, really?
Yeah. All right. So if you've not picked up on that, right?
To enable the crowds in.
So that basically means every Premier League club should get a home game before the end of the season, where they can have some fans back in.
That's good.
Which is okay.
That is good.
That is a spare. That's the only spare weekend or midweek that's available to replay this game now. Or I thought, well, maybe they might have just gone, we'll play it tomorrow. But thinking about it, it's probably logistically not possible to do that. So yeah, it was. But that's the only spare weekend now. But of course, it screws United up. Because we're still in Europe. I don't know whether you'd spotted that.
Are you still in Europe? How did you do in that semi? Did you? But you were playing
go at half time.
I mean, you were 2-1 down, weren't you? It was. I think that's when I got in touch with you, saying, "Oh, this is a bit tidy."
You might message me at half time. Yeah, I can't think why. Yeah,
I dropped the hammer on Roma just by doing that. Listen, we a little bit of data coming through, so I can see that we've got some people in the chat box now. Mr. Pearson is there, so hi to you, Dean. One Mr. Richard Baker is there and says, "Evening, chaps. Evening to you, Mr. Baker, sir." Tony Ross said, "Good evening. Good evening to you, Tony." And Michael Christensen, right, from Canada, says, "We're being good for a change." Well, that's nice to hear. Listen, I'm going to tell you a story about Michael Christensen. I don't need to tell you this story because you already know, Lee. But let me tell the guys, right? So we were having a joke with Mike some time ago about sending us a moose's head from Canada, right? So we were having this ongoing joke, and a package arrived right at my front door. I was a bit scared, really, because it had been opened by customs.
Mine had been opened by customs as well.
It looked like it had been really rifled through.
Yeah.
And when I got inside the package, right? It had one of these. Check it out. Look at that. And I've deliberately put it in my little fridge, right? I haven't drank the thing because I wanted to give Mike a name check for sending that beer through. And he sent another goodie through, Lee. Do you want to reveal what he sent through?
Yeah, well, yeah, that was it. The other thing he sent through is why I think customs opened up the packages.
No doubt, yeah. I've
because
no doubt.
because that got opened as well. Yes, so we got some lovely maple syrup from one of the local farms, which is is very. Have you used it yet?
Absolutely fantastic. I haven't.
Oh, it's
I haven't
good.
yet.
It's very good.
Right, I need the waffles and the bacon first. Haven't managed to get there, but it was very nice thought.
I did say to Mike, I said, "Is it sacrilege?" Because I've got a really great recipe for gluten-free donuts that uses maple syrup.
Oh man, go for it.
And he said, "Is it? You know?" I said, "Is that sac? Or am I going to get into a lot of trouble with a whole of Canadian land if I if I do that?" But apparently it's okay.
It's okay. That is good, but very nice. Thank you, Mike. I really appreciate that.
So Richard Baker, saw him in the chat. So I was on a Zoom call with Richard on Wednesday.
Really?
We had a little
Wednesday
get together after Jer's afterwards. After Jer's funeral. Richard had phoned me that morning, and we just had a bit of a chat. And and I said to him, "Well, what you should just put a little Zoom call out, see if anyone wants to." So it was about 4 or 5 people rocked up and had a catch up. John Murray was there, and Duffy was there, and just said, it was just nice for half hour, and had a chat, raised a glass to Jer. I mean, the service was amazing. Genuinely, how Jer Junior got through the everything that he said, I don't quite know. It was so it was very, very moving, and I learned some stuff, Des. I didn't
Ireland
know
B rugby, right?
Yeah, I didn't know about the rugby.
I thought he only played for Ireland B in poker.
Yeah,
rugby.
Who knew about the rugby? I had no idea.
Me too. Learned a new thing.
No idea whatsoever. So incredible. And obviously, if you saw the service, you'll have recognised a few of the APAT guys were there. Steve Roderick was there, and Matty and Stu and JP and Dawn had flown in for it as well. So I think Glenn was there as well, wasn't he? I think.
Yeah, Glenn was there.
Yeah.
It was lovely to have the opportunity to be there from a distance, and it was touching. It wasn't any less touching for being at home, it was. It felt like from Dawn sharing some live video prior to them arriving at the crematorium to actually being in the church and watching the feed, and the feed is back up on the the crematorium website now.
So if you didn't get a chance and want to, if you want, let's say it's a very moving service. So if you do want to go and have a watch, I think it's up for 28 days, and you can use the same link that Des posted in the group. From Wednesday. But any problems with it, just give us a shout, because we've got the link as well.
Yeah,
but it was a beautiful thing.
Yeah, so young Jer and Marie spoke. Jer spoke probably for 10 minutes or so, and to give a very moving tribute to his dad. And I thought his delivery was just remarkable given the circumstance, but how he found the time to put all of those words together. Prior to, the service, was very impressive, because it was very well thought through. And I did think he is his father's son, because his dad, as we know, had a real talent for writing, and, actually getting out there what he meant, not getting sort of mixed up in too much flowery language. It was just, here it is, A to B. Yeah. And it was really worth hearing. And he even
mentioned Jer's blog, didn't he?
He did.
The APAT forum, which is
my dad wrote a lot. He wrote a blog. He did write a blog. Duke attempts the impossible. Incredible stories in there.
I have re-tagged, because you sent it to me the other day, but I think you sent it from somebody else, didn't you? Because obviously a lot of people, I think, had gone on and started reading things. And there's a wonderful post there where Jer writes his own obituary. And I've re-tagged it at the very end of the blog. So I've just, I'll leave this here just, because it's a beautiful little short paragraph, but just summed him up as a man.
Touch wood, Lee, as we've said before, when, Jer's close friends decide, how, we as a group should remember Jer, then, there are certainly some posts from the blog that I think, we would want to read out and bring to the fore. That would be one of them, because, written as it was 12 years ago, it's just, it's just, it was both funny and sad at the same time.
Yeah, no, quite agree. So yes, I had a chance to catch up with Mr. Baker, who's very well. Had a couple of nice tournament wins in the past couple of weeks as well. So he's
even nicer.
He's living in a sauna at the moment.
Living in a sauna?
Yeah, well, it looks like a sauna. It looks like a sauna, but it's not. No, he's in a
overseas.
Yeah, no, he's in a nice kind of wooden, like forest type kind of home. It's lovely. Yeah, it looks fantastic, really. So yeah, it's probably getting him in touch with a countryside. Okay, to be fair, it's on a golf course, but with Richard, you wouldn't expect anything else, really, would you? So, but it's he's living a bit of the kind of the country and country life and enjoying himself. So
good. Glad to hear it. He says it's a cold sauna at the moment. I guess a lot of places are cold at the moment. Listen, I'm getting a bit of a rub down here, no pun intended, from one Mr. Bailey. Des, can recommend Gillette Mach 3. He's giving me a rub down. Do you know what, Frank? I'm planning to grow it, right? So if I manage to stay another week, then it's going to be a week longer this time next week. But my plan is to grow the thing. So it's not me just not, having had a shave this week. This is a genuine attempt to see if we can.
To be fair,
grow
it doesn't need to actually leave it, unshaven for very long before it pretty much then lines up with his haircut. Because if you'd have seen how short he had his haircut,
is it in there?
I didn't know, but I genuinely thought he just signed up and was about to about to do his first tour of duty somewhere.
That is a cracker. That is a cracker. And Mr. C says, "Cheers, guys. Enjoy it any way you like." So that's very kind. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, I say I'm pretty sure Customs already did. I guess the thing is, though, it's it's proper homemade. The maple syrup. So obviously,
it's good stuff.
It's a beautiful, typical, maple syrup bottle, but of course, it's just labelled up, as if it was made from home. So I can only imagine that if that's coming through Customs, they must scan these things or see and sense a liquid in there and think we better check out what that is. So
absolutely.
That's, I'm sure, what happened, but it got repackaged up and then forwarded on. So
look, I'm just glad they didn't, send on a half a full bottle of maple syrup, because it looks very golden and very tasty.
Yeah. Luckily the beer didn't get touched, so we're okay. So
they got Canadian Moosehead. That's what's in the package, Your Honor.
Yeah, exactly. Just live with it. That's
right, Lee. We've got some poker going now, so we're down to 25. We
are, yes. Just trying to keeping up to date with the others, because the PLO is now in the money as well. That's down to 13. So that's ticking along nicely, and we're down to 6 in the closer as well, which is a turbo. So that always tends to fly quickly through. Yeah, exactly. So. So we've got, so Gary Young's still got chips 7th at the moment. Richard King, who always does well in APAT Championship,
the Chocolate
events,
King,
doesn't he? Very, very consistent player. He's doing very well, and quite a few new names actually this month. So Ray Chan as well from Canada, who's a regular player of APAT events, and Yanni clinging on. He's got 6 bigs at the moment.
Oh, it's getting tricky. Just looking at the PLO leaderboard as well, Lee. Dean Pearson, bottom bottom of what I think must be maybe 15 players, something like that. Dean
13 left now.
13 left. Di Farrell's still there. Rich Baker's still there. Yanni is halfway up the leaderboard there. Who else have we got? Paul Jackson, now chip leader on 700k. Do you remember that hand? And we're assuming this is Paul here, but do you remember that hand Paul Jackson against Phil Ivey? Do you remember that mental raise, re-raise, re-raise hand from Monte Carlo?
World Series? Oh, Monte Carlo, okay.
Monte Carlo, going back, crikey, must be going back 12 years. There was just this incredible hand, it was deep in the tourney. I can't remember exactly how the action went, but one of them put out a raise. There was a cheeky re-raise, then there was a re-raise, and then there was an all-in over the top, and neither of them had anything. But Paul Jackson came out on top. It was just like if you don't ever do another thing in poker, to be able to show that hand where you completely, went to the wire with Ivy, it's quite
just
very nice to have. Very nice to have.
Just because it's what you can do. Why not? Yeah, nothing wrong with that. Yeah, I'm assuming it must be the one and the same Paul that's decided to play our Omaha game tonight.
So, Lee, you'll have noticed, you've probably forgotten, I didn't hook up a casino slots game tonight. Right, we've got to do it next week. I just didn't have time, what with all of the drama, line of duty, right?
Did you see the link I sent you earlier on?
I did.
Did you check it out?
I didn't, but to see the CEO of, a reasonably well-known network talking about, let's all pile into a slots night that we're streaming.
I kid you not, right? It's about 3 hours long, and they're all on a Zoom call, right? So the stream on Twitch is their Zoom call plus the slot window. And at one point, Chris Moneymaker comes into the chat, and they're all chatting, trying to get, and they've obviously all got a piece of the action.
Yeah.
Because they're then deciding when they're gonna opt out or what they're gonna do. But I mean,
sounds like fun.
It's certainly not suitable for work because it's gets quite lively when they hit the bonuses. But it's hilarious. But as you say, I mean, I don't know. I'm assuming they're playing on that man's
website. I'd have thought so.
Website. Yeah. So in which case, is it how genuine it really is? I don't really know. But the way they were talking, it's a regular thing that they do. So it's not a case
just a blowout. It's a bit of fun, right? It's a bit of fun. And if they're all piling in together, it's just, it takes away that solitary, let's just put this, that solitary thing that you can get with casino play, right? Slot play, very solitary exercise. But actually, if you have a number of people in it, it's more fun. So where else are we going to go here? Let's have a look.
Oh, we lost a table. We're down to 23 now, so we are down to 4 tables. We've only got to lose another 7 players, and we will be done for the night in the main event.
Let's go on to table.
It might actually be a little bit earlier than midnight. Actually, the way they're going.
There we go.
But
back up.
Peter Morozov from Russia is currently chip leader, 1.2 million. Blinds are still only 12,500, or just gone up to 15,000, 30,000. So actually, chip leaders only got 40 bigs. It's pretty shallow at the moment, Des. Actually, looking at it, average stack is about 14 bigs. So really, we should be flying through some of these remaining players. Still 20. Still 23.
Oh, it's hilarious. I just had a quick look on the Twitter, right? Just in case anything's happening in the world that we need to be aware of, Lee. Just had a quick look, and as you might expect, line of duty. That's the big trending thing, right? So somebody's wrote, Jed Mercurio to everyone who's wasted years of their life watching that. Oh, you probably can't see this, I think, but
Yeah.
I look, for me, this guarantees a season 7 because
Yeah. I think so, yeah.
there's a big twist coming. I've no doubt.
Yes, but he's got a new thing coming out as well, isn't he?
Was that that submarine thing?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think.
I didn't know that was him. That looks good.
So it was, who mentioned it? Somebody mentioned it on Facebook. Tom Banks mentioned it the other day. And I didn't see it because I'd gone, because as soon as it kind of end credits rolled, I was running to get a cup of tea to get up on. And here, and then Jen said that yes, he's written something new, and they've done
Looked
a trailer
interesting.
for it.
So I have a question. Have you've obviously seen all of the Line of Duty series?
Yeah.
What was your favorite season?
It's probably the one with Keely Hawes in it, I think.
Denton.
Yeah. I think so. Yeah.
I loved season 4. Thandie Newton.
Oh, Thandie Newton. Yeah.
Fantastic. Absolutely fantastic.
So what do you sorry, we can't talk, as I say, there's gonna be people that have not seen it, so that will be unfair. We'll have to do a whole separate. I was going to just ask the question of what was your positioning on Carmichael, but that's it's probably not fair for you to comment.
You think? Well,
too much. Yeah.
Well, I tell you what, pre-season pre-episode 7, right? So my thoughts on Carmichael pre tonight. Like the character very much, very powerful actor. You know, really has really took the stage in a big way, I thought. Yeah, can't say any more.
No, not really. But I definitely think there's I think you're right in saying that there feels like there'll be another one along at some point. It's such a big hit for them. They're going to have looked at it and gone, yeah, we can.
It's getting like 13, 14 million people per.
There's
per
not
episode.
much that gets that anymore.
There really isn't. And the fact that
the whole world,
the fact that they've not shoved out the entire box on day one has created this this around the water cooler moment, albeit there are of course no water cooler moments these days, but this thing of people talking about the show and waiting for the next episode, and that's a good thing.
Yeah, no, I think it's a great thing. I mean, the only thing that's I think could get close to it is I don't know whether you've been watching this on a Saturday night. I See Your Voice.
No.
Have you not seen this?
Never heard of that. What the hell's that?
I
See Your Voice. I'm writing that down because that's your
go
full thing.
And watch this. It's absolute. So Paddy McGuinness hosts it, right? And it's it's two contestants.
Hold on.
Right?
Hold on. I've just rubbed that out.
I'll tell you the concept. This is genius, right? So, two contestants are playing for £10,000.
Right.
Okay. They've got a celebrity panel that help them, just a bit chatty. So there's that Amanda Holden and Jimmy Carr and that's irrelevant. So basically, the concept is 6 people up on stage, all claim to be singers.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Right.
And they've got to pick who is actually a singer, but they don't sing.
Okay.
Okay. So the first round, they have to eliminate somebody based on just the look. How are they standing? How are they, they've all got nicknames or whatever. And basically how it works is the real singers tell the truth. The fake singers will tell the truth about everything apart from their singing.
That would make sense.
And so they basically have to eliminate people. And how it works is, so they pick who they're going to eliminate, and then they go, right, so let's hear your voice. So then that person will sing. So you get a huge intro, 20-second intro before they belt out a tune. And you're at home trying to work out, well, are they a real singer or are they not? And the bad ones are really bad. Oh, they are. They are.
But
really.
Let me get this right now.
But when a bad singer starts singing, it's this jubilation. It's just, you can't help but it's really, really enjoyable.
Are you sure? Are you sure you want me
No,
to check this out?
It's brilliant. Seriously.
Okay, I'm gonna write it down again.
It's absolutely brilliant. And trying to work out who's a real, who's the real singers and who, and basically if they get, so they whittle them down till there's one left, and if then the person who's left does a duet with what the special celebrity they've got for the week. So the celebrity, I think it was Ronan Keating the other week, he'll belt out the first half of the tune, and then the final one that's left kicks in for the second bit. But if they get it right and it's a good singer, they win £10,000.
Yeah.
If it's a bad singer, the bad singer wins £10,000.
Oh,
so the bad singers aren't just up there just for a laugh.
Highly motivated.
They are highly motivated to do it. So they one of the rounds is lip sync, and they all lip sync to a song. And if it's a real singer, they're lip syncing to their own voice. If it's not, and some of these guys that are faking it have been practicing the lip syncs so much, it's spot on.
Okay.
It's too good. It really is. It's too good.
I might do that. Is it an ITV show? I assume it is. Is it
no,
like littered with ads?
I think it's BBC. No, it's BBC.
Oh, okay. All right.
It's on about, it's maybe, I don't know, 6:30, 7 o'clock, something like that, maybe. Yeah, but seriously,
Paddy McGuinness used to do that other show. No lighty, no likey. What was it? No lighty. Hello, number one. Where are you from?
Yeah, it's that blind date on steroids. Yeah,
it was a bit like that. Yeah.
Yeah. But I presume
the dog see the rabbit.
That used to be, was that ITV, wasn't it? That was ITV.
I think it was.
Yeah. But he's, because obviously he's done Top Gear now, so I'm assuming he's become a BBC bod.
Maybe.
Or is that even a thing anymore? Do they? I thought you still had people that stuck to one or the other, isn't it? They're contracted, aren't they? So
yeah. I think once you're in with one network, you probably don't want to be doing something elsewhere at the same time.
No, definitely not. So, but yeah, definitely check it out. It's quite addictive to try and work out, who's the real singers.
So you have directly compared this with Line of Duty, right?
No.
You've directly compared it.
It's not even going to get close to the numbers on that.
Is there any character on there that refers to everyone else as fella, whatever their sex? There isn't. We haven't got one of them. No, okay.
No, definitely not the case. So the other bit of TV that I got absolutely hooked on was it was the final frame of the snooker semi-final
from last year.
No, just gone now. So it was.
I've seen that.
It was Selby versus.
I didn't see
Bingham.
that. So it wasn't the final. See that one? It was the one that they got hooked.
It was the final. It was the final frame. It was we'd got it back to 14.
Oh yeah.
14 all, and then this frame went on for ages, and Bingham fluked the red, which got him a decent break, and then he missed one, and then it was just snooker after snooker after. Oh, it was incredible. Because sometimes you watch a century break and you go, well, yeah, okay, that's very impressive, whatever. But it's the little messy frames.
That wasn't the final frame though, right? They went. I think they went 15. They went 15-14, and they got hooked because it was the first to. It was the first to. I'm going to say it was the first to 17. First to 17.
First to 17.
Selby was leading 16-15, and they got hooked. They had to come back at the end of the second semi-final, and I believe it was a really dramatic frame. That
no, I definitely watched the one where I thought they would. That was it, done and dusted. Yes, because they interviewed them both.
Oh well, then it must have been the final one. Well, I did see that frame. Then I did see that frame.
Yeah.
Selby won.
Yeah, because they interviewed because Bingham was having a pop at
Yeah, that's right.
Him taking
bit of gamesmanship,
taking forever, and was it gamesmanship and that kind of thing, and he was like, it's trying to find some needle in snooker.
So that was the frame where sort of when they were on the colours, Selby somehow managed to miss
twice.
2 or 3 pots and cover the the ball with the brown or something. Yeah, that was.
But there was clearly a little bit of needle there because I think it was when Bingham fluked the red, where he just went into the pack and one of the reds came off and went in the pocket. didn't apologize, nothing whatsoever. And they made a comment about that of, well,
Yeah,
he
no,
didn't play for that, I don't think.
yeah, but
I'm
hold
but
on
I'm
though,
no
hold on.
I'm no snooker expert, so yeah.
But he finished behind the brown, right? So he fluked the red, but he couldn't actually take advantage. He finished behind the brown.
No, I think
Are you
he
sure? I thought he
yeah,
just pushed up behind the brown then.
No, I think no, that was a bit later on. I think he potted a few out of that because he then went ahead, didn't he? So
oh, I love that game.
yeah.
So
but,
so tomorrow night's show is going to largely depend on what the score is going into tomorrow night's snooker, right?
Well, they were close earlier on when I
they were close. I think they were close.
Yeah.
The last I saw, because the final night of the snooker, I think it's one of the great nights, one of the great sport nights, or it has the potential to be.
I must admit, I've not watched any of it today yet. So what's it is? I mean, it's a full-on atmosphere with a packed.
Everybody's there.
Crucible.
Yeah. As you know, I had tickets for tomorrow night, and let him go. And
are you regretting that now or not?
No, I'm not. No. I mean, I know I'll regret it tomorrow night if it goes down to a last frame and it's an absolute classic. But no, I had to make a decision, right? So at the time, it was the right decision. No point looking back. I've managed to get myself vaccinated since then. So
would you suggest that the two players in the final is a classic final or not? It feels like it's missing some of the bigger names.
Well, I've always loved watching Sean Murphy play. I think he's an excellent player. And Selby, of course, is a bit of a throwback to the old days where there were lots of grinders. So I think, while it lacks a Ronnie or a Trump or a whatever, I think it can be a classic final. I think it can be full of great snooker. And rather amazingly, they've already shattered the record for the number of century breaks. They were up to 102 before play started today, with the previous best having been 100. But if you go back to like the glory years, 1985, 86, 87, I mean, they were only having like 20 century breaks at the Crucible. I mean, the game is so attacking. But I think it's quite nice to see a Mark Selby in there who's capable of playing really tight snooker as well.
I see it's a sport where if you get knocked out, they expect you to do some commentary. I mean, it's just like poker, isn't it?
Trump.
Yeah.
Trump's doing. I don't think he's
Judd
the best
Trump's
for
there. No, I was quite surprised because I mean, when you look at the list of ex-champions they've got on their roster there, the BBC have for these games. I mean, it's just a ridiculous list of players. And I was quite surprised to see him pop up and be doing a bit of commentary. So it's very, very APAT.
Very APAT. When I was a young lad, I used to play snooker, and when I first came to England, like right at the end of the 80s, so I was based out in Seven Kings in Essex, so very, very close to Ilford Snooker Centre. And on many an occasion, I travelled on the 86 bus from Chadwell Heath up to Ilford to play with Ken Doherty. Ken was one of probably 3 or 4 very, very strong Irish amateur players who were over trying to break into the pro game at that time. And Ilford Snooker Centre was like a mecca for the top pros and pro-ams, pro amateur players from around the UK. They would all gather there. Ronnie Sullivan was a 10-year-old, but his dad used to, frequent Ilford all of the time. So it was a unique period. I knew Eugene Hughes very well. He was an Irish player, and Eugene used to play with Dennis Taylor and Alex Higgins in the team championship. So I went down to Bournemouth with him once in his Jag, and he told a lot of stories about Alex Higgins on the way down. Nobody liked Alex Higgins. Nobody did at all, on the circuit. But Eugene said, look, this is a handy 30 grand. I would get 30 grand from this tournament every year because Ireland would generally do well in it. We were in the hotel after that event, and Higgins was at the bar, all jeans, drunk as anything. He was, a genius on the beige, but very controversial character off of it. I think Gary Jackson takes that with a flush, but the absolute glory years of snooker. I think you've frozen. Have you frozen, Mr. Wilshire? Let's see if we come back in. Hey there.
Back in the room.
Yeah, let's see if we can get you.
Yeah, so there's I think it's next weekend. Gods of Snooker, is it? I think it's called.
What's that?
Have you not seen it? Have you not seen
Gods
the trailer?
of Snooker? No. What's that?
It's on BBC, so it's back in the kind of the 80s, late 70s, early 80s, all about snooker back then when they were absolute, millions and millions and all this kind of thing. It's
fantastic. Love it.
I want to say the 9th. I think it's the 9th. So that would make sense next Sunday night, maybe. Quite possibly. Let me see if I can find for definite. But they've been trailing it for the past week. So Frank's in the chat says Frank of Ireland is on Channel 4 if you want a good laugh.
So I've heard of Frank of Ireland, but I haven't actually seen it, Frank. How long have you been in it for? How much are they paying you? I need to know. I would quite like to watch that. I've discovered a fantastic series on Prime. It's an Irish history type series, and it goes through each of the individuals of the first government in Ireland back in like 1916. It goes through them each individually and gives a really deep look into their history and stuff, which is very cool. I'm not typically a history geek, but I'm finding this a real win.
Yeah, so Gods of Snooker is on next Sunday on BBC Two, 9:00.
Great. I will definitely watch that.
It says I can record the series, so that means it might be more than just potentially more than just one. But after that, so that's on for an hour, and after that, next Sunday night for another hour is Alex Higgins, the People's Champion. Based on what you just said, but yes, Gods of Snooker it looks quite impressive.
So, do you remember when we interviewed Patrick Nally?
Yes,
the guy with the amazing Olympic story and the FIFA World Cup story. He was the guy that really drove that sponsorship model, and I had no idea, but he told us in that interview that he managed Alex Higgins.
Yes.
During that period, everything from, getting the suits and dressing him and having to move him around because Higgins never drove. He traveled everywhere on a train. And he said, some experiences you'd rather not go back and have again. I think he found him quite a handful.
I think there was I'm trying to think it's a film. It might be a film. Is there a snooker film with Steve Davis and... Was it a doc? Was it a drama? There's definitely been a drama in the past couple of years that's been on
about snooker.
Yeah. It's got it had definitely like Steve Davis. Obviously it was fictional, but those characters were in it. I'm trying to think what it was called, and I'm trying to think whether it was a film or whether it's actually was a TV series. This is where you need Tom Banks because he normally knows this kind of stuff.
Banksy would know. I've no recollection of that. I have to say.
Oh, I said definitely been on in the last few years. Let's see whether I'm not even sure how I could search for it on IMDb. Let's try and somebody in the chat will tell me the.
So Rich Baker is saying Selby's leading 10-7. So Sean Murphy had made the better start, but he hadn't been able to get away. So Selby has come back at him, but that's sort of mirrors a little the semi-final that Sean Murphy had, where he was quite a way behind. But I think it'll make it interesting tomorrow. Great queuing action.
There
Sean
we go.
Murphy.
The Rack Pack, 2016 film.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, watch that. It's very good.
I watched. I'm not too proud to tell you. I briefly watched, I think it's called Istanbul. It's about these two Liverpudlians who, end up on a bit of a swizzle trying to get to Istanbul to watch the Champions League in 2005. So it's a movie, right? A bit of a comedy movie. Had to turn it off. I gave it.
Really?
It got about 6 or 7 minutes, and then it just became farcical.
There we go. Tony Ross is in the chat saying the Rack Pack.
The Rack Pack. There we go.
The Rack Pack. Say 5 years ago that was. It did say that it was on BBC iPlayer, but whether it's still on BBC iPlayer now or not, I don't. I'm not quite sure because it says it's a BBC iPlayer original, so that might mean it's still available on iPlayer now.
Well, it would give me a bit of hope. I mean, if the BBC have created this program, then
yeah.
quality
So,
should
but
be fairly decent.
it's a British comedy drama, film, but it's very good, very good indeed. And the guy that plays Steve Davis is spot on.
The Nugget.
Yes.
What a player, though. Crikey.
So there we go. We've got down to 16. How quick did that happen?
Shit. Well, we missed it.
No,
pretty quick.
No, but it just that was always going to be the case. I said to you, they were playing quite shallow, so they were sort of playing average stack of 15 bigs. So that was always going to be the always going to be the case. I think really. So blind stopped at 20,000, 40,000. So Richard King is now the short stack with 300,000, which means he's coming back with about 7 or 8 bigs. And chip leader is Harrison Rowlands with 1.4 million, which is about 35 bigs. Come back tomorrow. So those 16 players will return 7 o'clock tomorrow to play that out to conclusion. Means they're all guaranteed $186, but just shy of $3,000 up top.
Well, I tell you, Lee, I've got to apologise to him in advance because Aidan Quinlan is flying the Irish flag and he still remains in this tournament. And, I'll have to be given a sneaky little call for him tomorrow because I'm still waiting to see the Irish flag, the last to exit one of these tourneys, I have to say. We tend to balk them on a weekly basis.
Yeah, exactly. So in the Omaha, we're down to 8, which means one more exit, and that will be done for the night as well. And the final table will come back tomorrow. Paul Jackson slipped down into 3rd at the moment. Daniel Renneling from Sweden is currently chip leader. Yanni still going in that. Di Farrell still going as well in that as well. So one more exit in that, and they will be done for the night as well. And the final table will be done. We've got 4 left in the closer. Dean Nichols is currently chip leader in that one as well. So yeah, I really recommend the Rack Pack just for nonsense snooker film to watch.
Gary Young's out there saying he ran like a 3-legged racehorse in the last hour. Unlucky Gary, unlucky sir. He's not had a bad run of late though. I have to say.
But he's just busting 17th.
Yeah.
But that's a pretty decent run for Gary. He was top of the table last week. So he's actually playing step 5 this week. He's had that's his 3rd cash now. He might. I don't think 103 is going to be enough. He's 106 points. I don't think 106 will get him into the top 20.
We'll have to nobble him. We'll have to nobble him like a proper
is he
race
in anything? I don't think
horse
he's in
there.
anything
I tell
else,
you.
is he? I don't think he's still in anything else. So that could be him done. I don't think 106 will be enough to get him in the top 20. So we might not yet be paying out our first $109 ticket. We might be safe for another week. I'm surprised.
Hey, if we have to give it, let's give it to Gary, right?
Yeah, well, I'm surprised though. We're this is week 8, and I kind of thought somebody would have got to 5 and got there by now, but they always seem to just come a cropper. We've had 2 or 3 that have now got to 5, but
it's the sign of a great promotion. It feels achievable. People get close, but they don't actually get there. We want them to get there, though.
Now, Gary's in a lucky situation, though, Des, because it's a championship weekend, and
he's got
the rules are rules are that we won't ever drop anybody down for a championship weekend. So because of the number of runners, and everything else. I mean, just to give you an example, before tonight, 190 people have cashed in APAT events this week.
Wow. Great.
So yeah, so that's the deal. So if you're when it's a championship weekend week, we won't drop you down. We'll increase you up. We'll bump you up a point if you get in the top 20, but we won't drop you down. So even if Gary doesn't do it, you'll have another shot at it next week.
Listen, Gary is there. He's saying, "Thank God, no downward steps in championship week. We'll clobber you next week, lol."
Yeah.
You're gonna take all the money next week. But Mike Christensen, he has the ultimate in sort of, what would I call it? Creative approach to the problem of Gary winning the money next week. And he says, let PokerStars add up his points. I like that. That's what we'll do. We'll pass the spreadsheet over to PokerStars. Sorry, Gary, didn't make it this week. Better luck next week. You're starting again on step 1.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So Tony's saying very hard to be consistent for 5 weeks. And that is
tough.
That
it's
is
tough.
a very
You say
good point.
Tony's got to 5. Pete Wigglesworth has got to 5. But say not being able to make it. Yes, Simon. Yes, you do move down one step. So basically, if you're in the top 20, you move up a step. If you're not in the top 20, you move down a step. And if you were already on step 1, well, you stay on step 1. So you can't go any lower than step 1.
Do you think, Lee? Do you think you're gonna have to think about this one now? You're gonna have to think about this quickly. Might we have some interesting news for Simon Lawler next week?
Might we have some interesting news for Simon Lawler next week?
Yeah.
Oh, potentially. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah,
I wanted to see those wheels and I'm impressed. You did well there.
Very, very. I mean, it's a long shot.
We'll pull it off.
Yeah.
If we pull it off, Lee, we're going to tell Simon next week.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. Yeah. I would have thought we'll know by next week.
I think we'll know.
One way or the other. Yes. Yeah.
But we can't say anything at the moment because that's what we do around here. You gotta tune in for episode 2.
Yeah. Season 7 or 8.
That's right. See if you can find any bent APATers. That's what it's all about. That's the story of tonight, the narrative.
That's very much the case.
So we're there, guys. I think we're there, Lee.
So Simon says, surprise, Wigglesworth hasn't crushed this. Well, Simon, he has.
He was crushing, wasn't he?
He has, but he again, he's another one. He got to 5 and couldn't do it.
He got the 109, didn't he, though?
No, he isn't. He's not at a 109 yet. No. So the week. No, I think was Pete the first to. Pete might have been the first to get to 5. Actually, I'm trying to think now whether
I thought 5 was 109. Is it not?
Yeah, 5. Yes. Well, no. You've got to. You're playing for it. But you've got to do it. Yeah. So
then you got.
There's a few people that have been on. Yeah, have been on the 109 step, but have not been able to do it. I'm trying to think how far Pete got. He either got to 4 or 5. He was at 4. He was the first one to get to 4. Right. Yeah. So he got to 4 in week 4. So he was the first one to go straight up there. But then had a shocker in week 4. Came a cropper. Couldn't.
That's right. Shark managed to get a leg and just dragged him back into the mess.
So he dropped down, but he's back up to step 4 now. So I think he dropped down for a week or 2 and then has pushed back up again. So, and he's looking good to go to step 5 next week and give it a go. But we can't wait to give away a 109 ticket. Genuinely, we'd love to give away a 109 ticket to somebody. And it says a few that have had a stab at it. I think Lewis Jabib is going to be going for it next week as well, because I think he's going to be he's on step 4 at the moment. So I think he's going to potentially be up there as well. So we could actually have 2 or 3 trying to do it next week.
Well, I tell you what we might do, Lee. Well, if we get to Sunday night, we're in that sort of position. Why don't we, we'll follow their progress to see whether in fact they can have a big Sunday night.
Oh, I thought you were going to say we'll make sure they get disconnected. All right,
we'll do that too.
No,
it's all part of the drama. Yeah. All right, fellas.
Yeah. Tony's in there going, I was first to make 5. Yes, yeah. Tony was the first one to actually get to step 5. Yeah. But again, couldn't win the prize.
He was the first to fail. He was the first to fail at 109.
Yeah.
Pressure way too much. Okay, guys, listen, I think we're going to call it a night at that. So thanks and kudos to everybody who played and did well this week. That was, well done to you all. Lee and I may very well be back. We're expecting to be back tomorrow night. We're going to be back, Lee. We're going to be back tomorrow night. We're going to start at around 7. Am I right?
Yeah, it's an early one. So the No Limit Hold'em
16,
final two
right?
tables will start at 7, and the final table of the Omaha will start at 8. And yeah, we'll follow both of them to a conclusion. I can't remember last month how long they went on for. I don't think it wasn't that long, actually.
No, it wasn't that
I
late.
think it might have just been a couple of hours.
We might have the snooker on in the background and live update that as we go along as well.
There's football tomorrow evening as well, isn't there?
Is there?
So, well, assuming it goes ahead, because to be honest, I sat down to watch a game this afternoon and it just never happened.
Oh, West Ham maybe still have to play this weekend.
The thing is, by the time Liverpool play Man United, you might be completely done for a top 4 by the time we play that game now.
Well, I mean, in theory, it's the same number of points, right? So if Leicester are the team that I'd target. I think both Leicester and Chelsea have a difficult run in. They play each other as well twice, as it happens, once in the FA Cup final, of course.
Yes.
They both have a difficult run in, but I would be targeting Leicester. And I just think, Leicester dropped a couple of points against Southampton, was it not, on Saturday morning. So they got some tough games coming up. They're the one.
Omaha's just done. We've got final table in that, and Paul Jackson's missed out. Ended up in 8th in the end. So we've got a final table tomorrow night with Di, Yanni's on there, and Jean Yip from
Perfect.
Belgium.
Good. Well, we'll definitely keep an eye on that tomorrow night.
Good.
Okay, night everybody in the chat box. We will see you tomorrow night at 7 o'clock, where once again we will not give out any spoilers to Line of Duty, right? There'll be no spoilers tomorrow night, right? Just in case you still haven't seen it. And I think we bid you adieu with that. So a night, everybody. See you tomorrow.